On this historic day, when India takes her place as a free and independent dominion in the British Commonwealth of Nations, I send you all my greetings and heartfelt wishes.
On 15th August 1947, India broke the shackles of centuries of colonialism and subjugation, and a new India came into the world with its idealistic approach to international relations. Free India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, devised the concept of non-alignment in order to create an independent path in world politics, while denouncing aligning with any of the major power blocs. Since then, many governments and power changes happened in India, but the non-alignment plan of action remained the central driving force in India's foreign policy. Then came the Modi era, and with that, India rejigged its foreign policy, moving from non-alignment to a more assertive, interest-based alignment. While maintaining its strategic autonomy and interests, India is now reflecting its thoughts confidently on Europe, the US, and the world order. The year 2022 saw several glimpses of this shift in foreign policy in interviews and speeches of External Affairs Minister Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar. His statements on India-China relations, Russia-Ukraine tensions, and the Eurocentric world order made significant changes in India's global standing. Here are some of the diplomatic responses by Dr. Jaishankar that laid out India's foreign policy.
That is exactly where I disagree with you. This is the construct you are trying to impose on me, and I don't accept it. I mean, I don't think it's necessary for me to join this axis or not, and if I'm not joining this, I must be with the other one. I don't accept it. I don't think we're sitting on the fence. Just because I don't agree with you doesn't make me sitting on the fence. It means I'm sitting on my ground. Why should I step up to what the West wants? I will step up to what I want, no? I mean, look, I have a fundamental problem with how this entire debate is being framed, because it goes back to the earlier questions you are asking, which is, a set of people say, by the way, this is the right thing to do, and why aren't you doing it? So, I am not running a foreign policy for the demands of other countries and other people. I'm running a foreign policy for what I think is globally good and what is in my country's interest. And I believe today that if you look at now it's 9 months since the conflict started. I do believe in these 9 months, India's interests have been well served. I believe today that we have today a credible position as a country which is an advocate of sobriety, which has credibility, which wants the conflict to end, which is capable of working with other countries. There are some other countries like us. We're not alone in this. And I think that's the right thing to do. Now, if that doesn't meet every expectation of some Western countries or many Western countries, I'd say, well, frankly, tough luck. It is really for the United States today to reflect whether what are the merits of this relationship, what do they get by keeping it continuing. Because at the end of the day, for someone to say, I'm doing this because it is for counter-terrorism, when you are talking of an aircraft like the capability of the F-16, everybody knows, where they are deployed and what is the use and what is their capability. So, you're not fooling anybody by saying these things. The Quad was never envisaged as 4 countries having identity or positions on all issues in the world. The Quad is an exercise of convergence where in the Indo-Pacific we have a lot of common interests and an ability to work together. Even in the Indo-Pacific we may not agree on everything, but we have substantial agreement. But there would be other areas. You picked Ukraine. I could as well pick Pakistan or Afghanistan and say, okay, why aren't you all endorsing India's position? But many of them are not. I mean, some of them don't even endorse my map. Forget about my position. We have a difficult relationship with China. We're perfectly capable of managing it. It's if I get global understanding and support, obviously it is of help to me. But this idea that I do a transaction, that I come in one conflict because it will help me in conflict too, that's not how the world works. So a lot of our problems in China have nothing to do with Ukraine, have nothing to do with Russia. They predate it. If I were to take Europe collectively, which has been singularly silent on many things which were happening, for example in Asia, you could ask, why would anybody in Asia trust Europe on anything at all? Somewhere Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems, but the world's problems are not Europe's problems. A lot of things are happening outside Europe. We have, partly because of climate change, for a lot of humanitarian, natural disasters, humanitarian responses. In our part of the world today, a lot of people look to us to help out. The days when they expected Europe to come, which Europe did at the 2004 tsunami. The difference today is nobody's even thinking of that anymore. So the world is changing, new players are coming, new capabilities are coming, but a new agenda must come. The world cannot be that Eurocentric as it used to be in the past. If you are looking at energy purchases from Russia, I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe, which probably we do buy some energy which is necessary for our energy security, but I suspect, looking at the figures, probably our total purchases for the month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon. So you might want to think about it. We have been very open and very honest about our interest. I have a country which has a per capita income of $2,000. These are not people who can afford higher energy prices. It is my obligation, my moral duty to actually ensure that I get them the best deal that I can from the world. And I think once you lay it out very openly and honestly, I think people accept it. They may not always appreciate it, but once you have it is there, and you're not trying to be too clever about it. You actually have laid out your interests in a very direct manner. My sense is that the world accepts that as a kind of reality. People are entitled to have views about us, but we are also equally entitled to have views about their views and about the interests and the lobbies and the vote banks which drive it. So whenever there is a discussion, I can tell you that we will not be reticent about speaking.